Is there no ends to what people will complain about? We got a cruise noise complaint, but not in the traditional way, and not since my great fever of 1974, when I think I peaked at 102, have I been more happy to say it's going down. It's going down, finally. A shocking story coming out today that I think most cruisers will be excited about. Plus, there's a lot of other announcements, cruise news, and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lita Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for your face on a Monday, June the 3rd, 2024. Hope everybody had an excellent weekend. Well, you know who's not having an excellent time? Some weird complainer on Carnival Cruise Line complaining about the quality of her sleep. Her and her dear husband getting no sleep because of noise, or the lack of noise. They're saying they cannot sleep on the cruise because it's too dang quiet. Which I think is a fair complaint. Some people like to sleep with noise. Some people like to sleep in silence. I think it's a fair complaint. But the thing that makes this redunculous is they want Carnival Cruise Line to do something about the noise. They say very plainly in their message that Norwegian Cruise Line, in their Haven area, they provide all of the cabins with a white noise machine. And while Carnival should have a white noise machine or a channel on the TV that's white noise, Carnival owes them some white noise. Why would you even write that? I guess the gracious part of me says maybe the person has no clue that Haven is a much more expensive experience than an interior cabin on Carnival Cruise Line, that the Haven is like at a suite level, and of course you would expect more amenities because you're paying a lot more money than you would if you're in an interior on a budget-friendly line. But even more ridiculous than that line of argument is just a cursory search of Amazon. You can find a white noise machine for $19. The message makes no sense to me. If you're packing the money that you need to get in the Haven on NCL, then finding a portable $20 white noise machine so that you can sleep on the budget-friendly Carnival. In no way do I think that Carnival should solution people's white noise. Come to think about it, maybe that's an entrepreneurial opportunity. Maybe some of us could just get paid to go on cruise ships and stand in people's cruise cabins and go, okay, maybe the $20 white noise machine makes more sense. Really, I'm just curious. Are you someone who sleeps in the silence? Or are you someone who sleeps with noise? What is your preference? And maybe even further, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in a city? Did you grow up in the rural area? Does that have any impact on it? And beyond that, do you think Carnival is responsible for the sleep of their passengers? Should they be installing white noise machines or programming the TV for white noise in every cabin? Cruise news story number 2, a wild cruise news story about a bunch of cruise passengers that basically got an airplane taken out of service. On a recent flight from Vancouver in Canada to Houston in the United States, 25 of 75 people traveling together in a group got sick on the plane. They were nauseous. They had some sort of stomach bug, and many of those people had been on a cruise together. It was so bad on that flight that when it landed at George Bush International Airport, 3 passengers had to be evacuated off of the plane. They didn't end up in the hospital, which is good. And then the whole plane has been taken out of service so that they can clean it up real nice after the cruise sickies were on there shutting it down. In a somewhat related story, I did see a video recently of a woman who refused to acknowledge to the airline attendant that they would do the duty that was required of them for sitting in an exit row. So if you don't fly frequently or if you're unfamiliar, there are some rows on the plane that are a little wider, and those are the exit seat rows. And if you're going to sit there, you have to verbally acknowledge that in the event of an emergency that you will perform the duties of the person sitting in the exit row, which is basically to help people off the plane. And it's a simple process. The flight attendant comes up and says, "Will you do this?" And you just go, "Yeah." And that's it. There's nothing else required of you. Well, I saw a video recently of a woman who completely refused to say yes to that question. She said a lot of other stuff. She completely mouthed off to 3 or 4 flight attendants. She mouthed off to the captain. All she had to do was say yes, she would perform the duties or move from that seat. She refused to do either. Eventually, security came and took her off the plane, but before they could take her off the plane, they had to debark the entire plane. So not only were they delayed for like 45 minutes while this argument was going on, but then they had to debark the whole plane so that they could arrest this lady. Yeah, it's a wacky world. It's a wacky world. Let's do some quickies. Disney's new private island opens up this week. Lookout Key in the Bahamas will start servicing Disney Cruise Line passengers on June the 6th. This becomes their second private island in addition to Castaway Key. TUI Cruises has a new ship completing its sea trials. This is Mein Schiff 7. Sea trials, an important milestone, one of the last ones before cruise ships start serving cruise passengers. Cunard, you guys know Cunard, the Queen Anne, that's their newest cruise ship, has made its way to Liverpool prior to its naming ceremony. Liverpool, home of the Beatles, but also birthplace of Cunard. Cunard's newest cruise ship set to be named today, June the 3rd. And finally, we do have the new Margaritaville at Sea cruise ship here in Florida. It arrived in Fort Lauderdale after doing a transatlantic crossing from Ireland. It's all ready to go for passengers, but it's in the wrong city. It has to do some things in Fort Lauderdale and then make its way around the Florida Peninsula to arrive at its new home port in Tampa, Florida, where it will be doing cruises, I believe, starting on the 13th or the 14th of June. Wasted away again in Margaritaville. Shout out Ludacris. There's some quickies. Now we got one more big cruise news story to wrap up this show. Before I get into it, let me just say thanks for watching today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. And if you want to keep up with everything going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Okay, here is the shocker. One of the most frequently asked questions I get is, when's them prices gonna go down? And my standard answer is, well, the prices will go down when supply outpaces demand. And it's happening. It's happening in the Caribbean. It's happening in the United States. This summer, there is a surplus of cruise cabins because there has been a lot of cancellations of Red Sea cruises because of turmoil over there. Cruise ships repositioned from that area to the coast of the United States. And now, because we have extra cruise ship cabins, we have cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, Norwegian Cruise Lines, and Carnival saying, look, we got to drop the prices. Now, I doubt you're going to see like significant price drops on the premier cruise ships like Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas, but there may be some older, smaller inventory, or maybe even some semi-new, different inventory than things like Icon that has a discounted price. This is me ringing the bell. The time is now to start looking for summertime cruises through any of the channels you normally do it, website, travel agent, that kind of thing. Will this go into the next season of cruising when ships reposition again? I don't know. Cruising demand is sky high, which normally means that prices will be sky high. But at least for right now, there's a little bit of a window to get in on it. Cruise news, cruise news, cruise news, it's over.